In this video, I'm going to do these questions which are on this formula. Distance is equal to speed times time. So let's use this formula. Of course, this has some different variations. The only difference is that sometimes you probably have seen this form as well, which is displacement is equal to velocity times time. But they're almost the same with a single difference that displacement and velocity are vectors. However, distance and speed are scalars. And now let's get started. So let's start by doing question 6. It says that a train travels at 78 kilometers per hour for 5.6 kilometers. How long does the journey take? Right. So since it says how long, that's obvious that we need to work out the time. And if we want to do that, we need to first rearrange the main equation, which is distance is equal to speed times time. And if you want to rearrange that, then simply we need to divide both sides by s so that we get t is equal to distance divided by speed. Now we just need to plug in the numbers. So the distance is 5.6 and the speed is 78 kilometers per hour. Now let's just work out the value of this. Okay, so we need to give our answer to the nearest minute, and if we want to do that, what happens here is that the answer we get is 0.07. It's approximately 0.07 hours, because the unit is hours, kilometers per hour, so that the unit of the time is going to be in hours. However, the question is asking us to give the answer in minutes, so we need to do a unit conversion at the end, which we can just use simple ratios. For example, we can say that so we can write down, because this is 0.07 over 1, so on the left hand side we have hours and on the right hand side we have minutes, because we know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. Now we want to see that 0.07 hours in minutes. So how many minutes is 0.07 hours? So simply we can work out this by just saying that 1 times x is equal to 0.07 times 60, which means that x is equal to, this gives me 4.3 recurring. But since the question is asking to give the answer to the nearest minute, we just need to round this number and we get 4. So 4 minutes. This is the answer. Now let's do question 7. So this one says that a leopard runs 0.25 miles at an average speed of 40 miles per hour. How many seconds does this take the leopard? So this question is similar to the previous one, but we just are dealing with some different units this time. So again, we want to work out the time, and time is equal to distance divided by the average speed. So we plug in the values. 0.25 is the distance and the average speed is 40 miles per hour. So we just need to be very careful and keep checking the consistency of the units. So here, for example, we have the distance in miles and the speed is also in miles per hour, which means it's fine. But let's say if here it was in kilometers, then we had to convert this let's say 0.25 kilometers to miles, so that would be an option. Now let's just work out the value of the time. So that's 0.25 divided by 40, and that gives us 6.25 times 10 to the minus 3. And since this is miles per hour, so this is going to be hours. So 6.25 times 10 to the minus 3 hours. So this is the time. However, the question is asking us to give our time in seconds. So we need to have a similar approach as the previous question, and we can just form two fractions. On the left hand side, we can just write everything down in hours. So on top is always the one that we want to convert. I mean, it doesn't really make much of a difference as long as we are writing the correct ratios in front of each other, because we could have written this on the denominator too. So because we want to know, because we know that how many seconds is in 1 hour, so which is 3600 seconds in an hour, and now we want to see that just convert this, that how many seconds is this amount of hour. So again, it's going to be 1 times x is equal to 6.25 times 10 to the minus 3 times 3600, and simplifying this, that's going to give us the final, which is 22.5 seconds. And that's it for this question. And finally, the last question: a snail slides 14.8 centimeters in 1 minute 25 seconds. Find the snail's average speed in meters per second. Right, so we have the distance, which is 14.8, so we can always write down the information that we have, and the time is 1 minute 25 seconds. But since the question is asking for the average speed in meters per second, then we need to basically use the time in seconds. So let's just convert 1 minute 25 seconds to seconds. So we know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 60 plus 25 gives us 85 seconds. So the time is 85 seconds. And the same thing applies for the distance, because distance is also in centimeters, but we want it to be in meters. And we know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So if we want to work backwards, we just divide that by 100. So our distance divided by 100, which is going to be 0.148 meters. So now we have converted all the parameters to the units that we want. And now let's just work out the last step, which is simply using the formula. And the formula is this time the average speed equal to distance divided by time, and the distance is 0.148, time is 85. Okay, so this gives us a very long decimal. However, the question is asking us to give our answer to two significant figures. So I'm just going to write down the first few decimal places, and then we will write that down into significant figures. So we have 0.0017 for recurring, and also there are some other digits, but we can just stop here because we don't need that really, because we want to give our answer to two significant figures, and our first significant figure is the first non-zero term, which is 1. So this is our first significant figure, and this is our second significant figure. And since our first significant figure is 4, and 4 is less than 5, so when we want to round that, that just rounds to 0. So we don't have any issues with here. And that simply means that the final answer to two significant figures is 0.0017 meters per second. Yep, so that's it for this video. And if you like the video, please consider subscribing to my channel and like the video to be able to watch my other videos. Good luck.